It's a kind of a funny story because we would go to Long Nook Beach and Truro for years, to go, belly boarding, and we used the cheap styrofoam, boards that broke after the third wave. And if you had a cloth blow up air mattress, they were even better because you got up higher in the water and could go faster and further. And it was my first weekend in Brookline, and I was wandering around. I knew nobody, and we had just come back from a summer on Cape Cod, and I passed a newsstand, and there in the newsstand was this black and white newsprint magazine called Surfing. And I looked at it, and I stopped, and I picked it up, and I saw these California surfers, and these little teeny black and white, horribly produced magazine. It ended up becoming a very big, glossy magazine, and it was one of the first issues. And I looked at the pictures, and I said, I can do that. And so that spring, we went to the World's Fair in New York. And I'd saved up all my money all winter long, and my parents had agreed to chip in what I couldn't save. And we went to the only surfboard shop in the East Coast. It was in Gilgo. Well, it wasn't on the East Coast, in New England, or New York and New England. It was in Gilgo Beach, New York. And I bought a board, and they shipped it to me to Provincetown. And so the first time I went surfing, I just paddled out at Long Nook Beach on a 2-foot day at low tide and had no instruction. I just picked up the board, paddled out, sort of figured out how to be steady on the board, figured out how to turn it around so that I could face the beach, paddled, and the first wave I paddled for, I caught, and I managed to stand up for probably 10 seconds, and I said, I got this. And then about 3 days later, I was doing the same thing when this kid comes running down the beach, waving his hands, and it was a guy named Michael Barnard, who became a very big filmmaker and a successful filmmaker in California. And he wanted to borrow the board. He was living up the street at his grandmother's place, and so he and I became fast friends, and we traded off the boards. And that summer, I got a job, and after 3 days of bussing tables at a prominent restaurant called Sal's Place, I had enough money to buy another surfboard. And so all of a sudden there were 2 boards on Cape Cod, and the rest is kind of history.